All right, everyone, welcome. It is Wednesday. It's 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It means it's time for the ViaMonstra Academy office hours that we run for an hour long, and so far weekly since a little bit into end of last year. With me, I have Mr. Andrew Johnson. Hey, Andrew.
Hello, I'm glad to be back this week.
Yes. As far as I remember, you played a network outage last week, so
Yes, not
it's
the
fun.
most
Fun
exciting
game.
reason.
It's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are both here and we're ready to answer any questions you might have on MDT, Intune, ConfigMgr, and systems management, Microsoft infrastructure. Yeah, lots of it. So with that being said, let the questions come in. All right. I have the chat window open. As usual, we are accepting questions on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. The stream is live on Twitter, but we won't be able to see any comments coming in there or replies. So it is a new week. Anything exciting going on, Andrew?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of different things, but a big one that I saw yesterday, I believe, was the Intune Management tool that we talk about quite a bit in our Intune course was updated. You want me to shoot you the link to the tweet, or you want me to just share my screen?
You can go ahead and share. I have the power of granting that access.
All right.
Helps when you create a meeting, then you get all the shiny stuff.
That's right. All right, let me see here.
There it is. It is on, and there we are.
All right, so it looks like a couple of small updates, support for compliance scripts, some tenant-specific things, and a couple of bug fixes. So this is an awesome tool. As I mentioned, we talk about it quite a bit in our Intune course. Kind of gives you a nice desktop-based GUI for managing your Intune settings, policies, scripts, things like that.
It's brilliant if you have a lab and test environment. You want to move some of that workload over to a production or a different lab or something. It makes it so easy to export and import or copy, make a duplicate or something, because not all functions in Intune, as you guys know, they have a duplicate option in the console. But using this tool, you get it for a lot more type of objects. So that is nice.
Absolutely. So that was a cool thing.
Can you send me that link? And I can just add it to our little link list that we are
Yeah,
using.
absolutely.
Sure. Intune Management. What version was it? 3.7?
Mm-hmm. 3.7.0.
Yeah, beautiful. And for those of you that are new to the Academy, I'm going to close your screen for a second, Andrew.
All right.
And bring up this one here. On the Academy website, this is where we are posting all of the links for all of the Wednesdays that we run. And these links are also being posted up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com, and then /c/ViaMonstra Online Academy. And that's when you go into the various existing ones. You will also see the links in there. So a few different options to get access to the links that we are sharing on the Academy. And speaking on new things, tomorrow morning we are hosting our third mini course on building a perfect lab. It's 2 hours where you learn how to set up a lab environment from scratch to finish. that you can use for MDT, ConfigMgr, Intune, and more. And not just the actual lab setup, the initial one, but also deploying the various servers and doing normal like post-deployment tasks when you're done with the setup. But it's all there because we strongly believe that having access to a lab environment, it's the shiniest thing you can possibly have when working with these technologies. It's just the best tool there is to learn about these things. And the price for this one is just right. It's as usual, all the main courses are free. So I hope to see you there tomorrow. It starts at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you cannot make live webinar, no worries. We do record the sessions, so you can join in and catch up the recording later. So I'll put that link in the chat as well. Try to grab the name of it. All right, so let's see. We have a few questions coming in. Let's start with LinkedIn. The Nugopal, sorry if I didn't get that entirely pronounced correctly, is asking regarding the SMS state component, showing a lot of messages. What should we do in ConfigMgr? You shouldn't have too much of a backlog in that one. It's hard to tell without actually seeing what type of messages there are, because state can be a lot of things. So if you can give it some additional information on what you're seeing there, we might be able to better answer that question. Because ConfigMgr does generate a lot of messages, as always has been. The more clients you have, the more messages you will have. And that's normally normal, but you shouldn't have too much of a errors in it. All right. Let's see. Russell on YouTube is asking, management is pushing for least privilege access. All the training modules I've seen use GA for Intune, global admin. Is Intune administrator enough in your experience? It's one of those, it depends. Some actions, when you work with them in the console, particularly around setting up connectors and whatnot, they often require more rights than you get from an Intune admin. Even what's the stupidest thing? I was earlier, no, last month, it's August now, so 2 weeks back, I requested from Intune support to increase the size of my Win32 apps in one of the tenants, because we had larger packages than 8 gigs. We needed up to at least 20, so we asked them to bump up to 32. And I actually had to submit that request as a global admin, otherwise the support wouldn't help me. So that has, of course, no technical reason at all. I'm assuming it's some sort of security reasoning behind it, but there will be things from an admin point of view where you actually need to be a global admin in Intune. Most of those actions are well documented, and it will say in the documentation that you need to be a global admin. I don't have on the top of my head a bunch of things that absolutely requires it that you cannot do as an Intune administrator, but that there are actions where you have to be a global admin. Anything you'd like to add there, Andrew?
Just that, if you're looking at least privilege too, depending on the size of the team and the support model that you have set up in your organization, you may want even less than Intune administrator. And Intune has a pretty robust model for doing role-based access, where you can do read-only, or you can scope things to certain devices, or even create your own custom roles if the built-in ones don't support your needs. So back to what you initially said, Johan, it depends. Maybe you need even less than Intune administrator for some of your people.
See if we got any clarification from the first question. Nope, not yet. All right. There is another question coming in on YouTube here. We are a 2010 version of ConfigMgr needing to upgrade. Currently running in HTTPS and HTTP mixed mode. We have 1,200 clients. How do we enable HTTPS only and not orphan the CMG endpoints? There are certainly a good chunk of customers running full PKI and still have CMG in place. I'm assuming you guys are using enhanced HTTP today. That's what you mean when you are in mixed mode. As long as those endpoints get the client cert, that has to have the client name and the subject name of that cert, they will be able to connect to the CMG once you go into full PKI mode. So that's something you probably want to make sure that you deploy early so that it's time to actually do the switch. The machines actually have the certificate so the client doesn't get upset about that. That's the only thing I can think of. Anything you'd like to add there, Andrew? I know you had just recently set up on CMG in your environment.
Yeah, but I've pretty much stuck with EHTTP and haven't really messed with a full PKI environment, so I don't know that I have much to add to that.
All right. But as we mentioned, as long as the cert is there, the client should be able to connect just fine. It does help if you have a public cert in CMG, so that is already trusted by the client. Otherwise, you have to somehow get that root CA out as well to those machines, which can be interesting if they are not available on your network at the moment. But you can also use Intune to push out root CAs, etc. So that's absolutely doable. I've done that for other scenarios in my lab and whatnot. All right. Any other questions? We're happy to answer.
I did catch last week Microsoft provided us an update to the Endpoint Manager integration with the Microsoft Store. I don't know if you happen to catch that news. I think it was after last week's office hours.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. They announced their upcoming changes. If you have the link available, feel free to share.
Yep. I've got it up right now, and then I'll share it in here. So basically, as I understand it, so this is still, they announced the Windows Store for Business or Microsoft Store for Business was going to retire. I think that announcement's been probably a year and a half ago now. Does that sound about right to you, Johan? Been a while.
Yeah.
So we've been waiting for more information. So they talk a little bit about the improvements that they're making with the new platform, how it will leverage Windows Package Manager. It'll be able to. I think we've had some recent announcements that Win32 based apps will be able to go into the store. And it looks like there will be a deeper integration with Endpoint Manager and the company portal. And I thought I saw in here, please don't quote me on this if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw in here Software Center and ConfigMgr itself won't have this integration anymore. Which may be okay, depending on your environment. You can integrate ConfigMgr with the company portal for a lot of things. So for us as admins, that may not be a huge deal, but we're going to have to see, what this looks like as it rolls out. But it looks like it could be interesting. I mean, as we talk about in our Intune course, it looks like the capabilities, the way that you deploy apps from there is going to be pretty similar, at least on the Intune side, which is good, I think. So good to see some updates there, since I don't think we've had many in a while.
All right, beautiful. So I didn't get any more feedback on the initial state component question, but at least I can show you what the question was about. So if I go over here, it should see my screen now. If I go to monitoring and scroll down to component status and then go to state or search for state, will take me to the SMS state system component. And if I right click in my little lab and just do like one day ago, I won't have any messages at all. But if I go back a month or a few weeks, then at least I will have a few messages in here. And these messages are something you obviously have to look into. You can filter on just information and just error message. But in this case, had a problem copying a file somewhere, but you'll have to review each of these and try to figure out what they are. So that's usually a lot of Googling in that place, unless you have stumbled across something before that you happen to remember what it was. But it will give you some details about what you need to look into from here. Hope that helps. Any other questions? Can share something I've been working on. I'll be released hopefully this week if PowerShell goes well for me. I wrote a blog post back in the days on, well, I have a lot of cloud blog posts, but this one is specifically on doing imaging over internet directly into Autopilot as quickly as possible, but still using the normal Autopilot registration. So what we came up with, I was working with a customer down in Australia for a bit, and they have enrolled hundreds, if not thousands, machines through this mechanism by now. And they were kind enough to let us share some of the findings we had from that project. So basically here, what we have is a regular MDT environment has been extended with PowerShell to get cloud imaging capabilities, to get peer-to-peer capabilities and others. But we do have an Autopilot sequence here that, as you can see, it's basically just there to deploy an image as quickly as possible. We added in some steps to clean up existing Intune and Autopilot devices before we started, because when we were testing, we were re-imaging devices all over again, and we just wanted to make sure they were completely out of the way before we did the second try on it. And then what we did in the end was that just before, so we applied the image, and just before we reboot into Windows for the first time, this is why we copy in some scripts down to the client together with a splash screen. And then we go ahead and delete the Azure AD device out of Azure AD. Also something we needed for some of their scenarios. Now, with recent changes of Intune, that dependency is now gone away. They announced that in the service release 2207, but still we have that in for now. But what happens is that the unattend file actually when the machine boots up already in the specialized paths, we go ahead and launch the autopilot registration. And we have a splash screen that is covering the screen at that point, and basically with a countdown saying, hey, we are registering the device. Please hang tight. This may take X minutes. And then we have a server-side loop that verifies that the server is actually, or that the device is properly registered and assigned before we allow the client to continue. But that way we can guarantee successful deployments as long as the autopilot service is up and running, that is. Can't really do anything about that if it decides to take a break. But other than that, this will be updated with these new scripts with our findings from that project. And that allows you to very, very quickly deploy machines straight up into enrollment as fast as possible. No need for sysprep, etc. You can just deploy them as is. So that's what I've been spending some time on lately. So I'll put the link in the chat. We added to a link collection, but please note that this needs a little bit of update, because in my original version, it did have a sysprep process in place. That one is no longer needed. We can actually enroll it anyway. We don't have to. Doesn't mean you cannot have it. If you want to do a lot of like install applications or not up in full Windows, by all means, you can still do that. But then you have to add in the sysprep process in the end. So that's going to add maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes to your deployment, give or take. It's not the end of the world. It's automated, but if you can remove that, why not? All right. So Russell is asking for the blog post that you shared, Andrew. I think you copied it there. Wonder if I can reply to that one here. Possibly. Let's see if YouTube accepts that.
Looks like it, because I see it back here now.
Yeah, it looked like it worked. This was the link in question. We'll add it to our collection as well, so you should have it in both. That did it. All right, it came through. Beautiful. I learned something new. Right, let's see. We have another question coming in on LinkedIn. When using a cloud management gateway, is it best to leave it in only the default boundary group, or should it also be added in, for example, to a VPN boundary group for VPN clients? That's one of those, it depends. If your VPN client supports split tunneling of content or split tunneling in general, it makes absolutely sense to have a VPN boundary and add in resources that are supposed to use when you are in that boundary. Otherwise, it may not be. For example, there is no point if you have every single byte going through a central VPN server anyway. There is no point of having that content reached out to CMG at that point, because then it goes out to your central data center somewhere, and from there out to internet to grab stuff, where it just could have received that from your on-premises distribution points anyway. So there are tons of articles and scenarios that Microsoft put together that talks about different uses of VPN clients together with ConfigMgr. There's a lot of work organizations are doing this these days around software-defined networking, like SD-WAN connections, where they always route certain traffic to certain servers through internet to somewhere else before it. So basically different traffic types have different routes to be more optimized and better use of that bandwidth. Obviously, something that is very, very, very dear to my heart is to reducing downloads in general from environments. I work mostly with peer-to-peer these days, where we try to have clients not download anything if it's not needed to download. If there is a local friend that may have some content, why not get it from that one? And the cool thing about CMD, it actually does support branch cache as well. Just works a little bit differently compared to a normal distribution point. But still, it's especially interesting for a CMD because you pay for download. So if you have 20 clients in a location, it is in general better to have one client download a package. You pay for that download, and then that client share it to 19 others on that network, instead of having 20 clients paying or having to pay for 20 clients downloading the same package from the CMD. So yeah, I hope we answered that question. Any other questions? Imaging, MDT, ConfigMgr, Intune, Autopilot, scripting. For those of you that arrived a few minutes late today, a friendly reminder, we do run our Perfect Lab class or course tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Good opportunity to spin up lab environments. So shameless plug for that one. But like all the other mini courses, these are free for the community. So the price is, I believe, just right for that one.
This is an awesome one. I mean, as you said, both of us definitely agree on how important this is for, depending on if you're like us, it's just fun to have a lab anyways, right? But it is, in my opinion, such an important part of a career and of learning. Definitely, if you've got the time to stop and check out this course tomorrow, I would.
We're a little bit biased, but it's a good one.
Just a little.
All right, what else been going on in the community? Yeah, we have Johan. He published an interesting article, actually. I can share that on the screen. Mr. Popovich. This is related to CMG as well, but he figured out how to actually, through PowerShell, get the registration token and add that as part of your SaaS sequence when you do deployment. So I think that was pretty clever solution for sure. Let's see if there is an info in the change log. Yeah, no, nothing there. But this one is golden. If you haven't seen this one, I recommend taking a look. It's a clever gentleman.
Definitely adding that to the top of my list to check out.
Yeah.
That could solve some issues.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I like the community, what they put together. All right, let's see. There are a few other questions coming in on YouTube. This one. Do you know where to get the application for Acrobat Reader for 64-bit on MSI? Yes, I do. I actually did that just the other day. Let's see if I can find my little note on it. It's part of the usual enterprise downloads, I believe. So let me go to that one. So let's see, we pick Windows, why not Windows 11, language, version, and see what we get there. Might be the 32-bit one only. I'm gonna extract it and take a look when it comes down. Anyway, I will put the download link in the chat here. I need to beef your internet for sure. But these executable files that you can download, you can just open them up in 7-zip. And then you can extract the MSI out of that one and use that as part of your installers. Might be still a 32-bit version in here though. No, I don't want to install you right now. Thank you very much. I already have it. Very good. But that's why you can download them. They used to have an FTP site as well. Not sure if that one is still around for the longest time. But they keep a lot of these enterprise builds. Oh, doesn't look like it. If anyone happen to know if there is a direct link to a 64-bit version, by all means, feel free to get a core 64-bit version. Reader.
If there is, they certainly don't make it easy.
Migration to 64-bit automatically upgraded. Download help for maybe this one. That is Acrobat. That is not what I was looking for. Unless the question was about Acrobat. No, it was the reader. Reader DC. Looking through there. Reader one. Not finding anything more useful. Nope, unless it's included in here somehow. This is probably just Acrobat, not the reader. I'll pass on that one. Don't find anything useful in my searches either.
No, I'm coming up short too, unfortunately.
See a lot of folks asking for it, but no luck on that one.
How about I just dropped you a link, Johan? Is that, you want to see if that's helpful?
I'll take a look right away. When I find our recording, I will take a look right away. Here.
Looks like if you choose one of those links,
Oh yeah. This looks kind of promising. Right?
It's amazing the lengths you have to go through to find this, though.
You're a genius, sir. This was good.
I've just used the Google once or twice is all.
All right. So it looks like it's available at least. Weird that it's only transformation files or MS patch files, basically. I would expect a full installer.
Yeah, so this may just be the patches as I'm clicking through here, but
All right, we'll put this one in the chat. It might be a good link to know about either way. So we keep it like there. There was a comment there from Russell on YouTube. Adobe Reader 64-bit comes with Acrobat DC 64-bit, as far as you know. So that was the link we shared earlier, or showed earlier. You can probably get that one in the chat as well. And that was this particular link here that talked about the migration. I mean, for selected geographics, what? We'll put this link in the chat. Might be useful to have. All right, let's see what else. Radu is asking if we've seen Michael Niehau's latest post. Yes, we have. For those of you who haven't seen it, Michael Niehaus obviously blogs a lot of internals on his out of office hours blog site, and this was one of his later findings. He did two posts yesterday. And if you haven't seen these guys, highly recommend reading it. It tells us basically what's going on behind the scenes during how Autopilot detects what's in the hardware hash. And he also had an earlier post where he also dove into the actual hash itself and took a look what's going on behind the scenes. And I have seen some other posts around that as well, because that data you can actually extract using this particular tool here to see what's inside of the content. Don't remember if I had a script to do that or not. Let's see if I have. It probably would be saved here somewhere. You would think. Oh, I don't think I saved that one away. All right. So let's see. The big question is basically if we have any thoughts on this. It seems to be quite complex. Yes, it is a quite complex process that Autopilots go through to figure out that the device is the device you actually are supposed to have from a hardware hash point of view. What Microsoft did just recently is now to simplify support for replacement of motherboards, so you don't have to go through a pretty painful process of deregistering device and re-registering back again after changing the motherboard. So I haven't tried that. I don't have any motherboards that need to be replaced right now, but that should help repair scenarios quite a bit. But I'll put the links to these two posts in our link collection. it's a good reading. If not, if you are working on autopilot stuff. Save that one away. Office hours, and it's almost 3 today. Any other questions? Still have a whopping 18 minutes to go for available. Should see.
Now that we're into August, maybe everybody's just wrapping up summer vacations this week.
That could be the case. I actually took the day off, or half day off Monday. We went to Six Flags for the first time here at Chicago. That was pretty awesome. Speaking of vacation, that was not bad at all.
Very cool. Are you a roller coaster guy?
Oh, heck yeah.
Awesome.
I love it. When I entered through those doors, I was not close to 50 anymore. I was 17 again, or younger.
Awesome.
That's the benefit of having a kid, is that there are excuses to try all rides. And he's just the length now, so he can ride all rides. It's perfect.
That's cool. Did you have a favorite, or did he have a favorite?
If you ask him, we probably have 10 favorites. Superman was my favorite.
Okay.
That was good. Hanging upside or underneath the roller coaster. That was cool. Total sidebar. That was fun.
Sounds intense.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll have to talk roller coasters for 16 minutes, which I don't mind, but probably a little bit off topic. Trying to find that script that was mentioning earlier, because I could swear I played around with it. Apparently, I must have saved it somewhere else.
Gotta love when that happens. You know, you have a directory structure where you intend to save those things. It gets saved off in a temp folder.
Yep, I've done that a few times.
Oh yes, very guilty.
All right, I don't see any other questions, but we'll stick around for a little bit and see if anyone shows up.
I don't know, we might be forced into talking about the Andor trailer or the next two phases of the MCU.
We could go on for a long time on that. That's
yeah,
for sure.
That would be office hours for sure.
Yeah, multiple. Yep. All right, let's see what we have. Nope. No, I think that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. Thank you, Andrew, for hanging here with us, and or for joining. And we see you guys next Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me.